Learn together right now. The summer sun is here in the tri-state. It's going to be 90 Friday, and that sun brings a whole list of worries about the type of protection we're getting from our sunscreen and what the ingredients could be doing to our bodies and our kids. Environmental toxicity expert Tonya Harris is here to help us sort out what's news and what's noise about sunscreen. Seems like we've had several stories just in the last week about this, Tonya. First of all, why don't you just give us a little one-on-one on the different types of sunscreen? There are really two main types, right?
There are. There's a chemical sunscreen and a mineral sunscreen. And the chemical sunscreens have the active ingredients usually that include like avobenzone, octocrylene, and octinoxate. And those can actually act as endocrine disruptors and can cause allergic reaction and skin irritation. And they can actually degrade in sunlight, some of those active ingredients.
Now, we just heard this morning in a story that they can affect hormones.
They can, yes.
Those chemicals in those sunscreens. Why are all of those chemicals in there?
I don't know, to be honest, but they're the active ingredients. So they are, some of them do act as sunlight filters, but some actually do degrade. But those are not the ones that I recommend. I recommend using a chemical sunscreen, and those are the ones that protect with titanium dioxide and zinc oxide.
Okay, you meant mineral.
Oh,
Those are mineral
yes,
sunscreens,
sorry,
right?
Mineral, yes.
Okay, so when we look at the label, we look for zinc oxide and titanium dioxide.
Right.
And why is that better?
Because those are physical blockers. So those actually block the sun's rays and scatter them. And then they're safer, and they actually protect against UVA rays also, whereas most of those chemical sunscreens protect against UVB and UVA, but UVB are usually the ones that actually are more beneficial to your skin, but they don't protect against those UVA rays, which actually penetrate deeper and can cause damage that we don't see.
Okay, so that's another thing to look for on the label. It needs to block the UVA and the UVB. What are we doing wrong when we put sunscreen on ourselves and on our kids?
Oh, sure. Yeah, this is I love this topic because it's something we don't think about. But the first thing is not applying enough. And so when's the last time we've looked at a label to see? So Consumer Reports recommends putting 1 teaspoon per body part. So 1 teaspoon per arm, per leg. And then the Skin Cancer Foundation recommends a nickel size just for the face itself. Okay. And then another one is not applying often enough.
How often should we put on sunscreen? That is so hard sometimes when you're out at the pool with the kids. They don't want to get out of the water. How often?
Well, it depends. So water-resistant sunscreen is made to really only last 40 minutes. Is what I've read. And then it's just not meant to last all day. So the one thing we can do is really, even with water-resistant sunscreen, reapply after we get out of the water or even after sweating, and make sure to towel off completely before we put it on.
And I know the other thing too, you've got to put it on way before you're going to go out in the sun, right?
Right. They recommend at least 15 minutes to do that because that's how long it takes to absorb into the skin and do its job.
Okay, now we were talking during the break. I use a mix of sprays and lotions, at least with my son, because he would rather have it sprayed on than sit around, having me put it all over him. But sprays are not so good?
Sprays are not so good, and
Why
I know
not?
my kids too.
Yeah.
Because of the inhalation risks, and then not only that, they scatter when we spray it on, so we're actually really not applying enough.
We're not getting as much as we think we are getting. Right. Are there any particular brands that are better than others? Do you know about that?
I do like a couple of brands. I do like Tropical Sands and Badger and Goddess Garden Organics are some of my favorite ones. I don't know if there's an actual perfect one, but those are the better ones I would recommend, especially for kids, because we don't want to interrupt their body processes as they're developing with those hormone disruptors, especially.
And I know, and I want to mention too, the Environmental Working Group put out a list of sunscreen products that are good and bad too. But Tonya, thank you. That was so helpful.
Yeah,
really
thank you
learned
so much
a lot.
for having
Happy
me.
summer.
Happy summer.